Hi, Liz. It's great to see you today. And I just want to know, how have things been since we last spoke?
So since we've last spoke, me and my husband have sort of taken like a back seat on all the organizing and stuff. Just a lot of stuff going on right now. Him with work, his two jobs, me with the internship, school, my regular job. But also there was a lot of personalities going on with the organizing, and it was just getting to be too much.
Can you say more about that? What was too much? How was it making you feel?
There was like a lot of people clashing and conflicting and like arguing over little silly things like budget and there was one guy he felt like people were really pressuring him to finally help decide on the lawyer, but he didn't want to feel pressured. He wanted to decide on his time. And it seemed like, when they had a whole meeting around him and it was like him saying, oh, but I want to do this and me. And it was like a lot of I and me. And then there were people that were very upset about that. And there was like even a whole mediation that went down. And I just wasn't really comfortable with all of that. I feel like I have a lot going on in my own life that I just had to be like, okay, let me, sort of take a back seat to this right now.
Well, because the last time we spoke, you mentioned it felt empowering to get together with your neighbors and fight against this contractor and the buildings going up. And I felt this energy from you that you were in it and you were in it to win it. You had this very positive attitude. And now it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, that it's feeling overwhelmed. It's adding to your stress, where before it was alleviating the stress
Mhm.
because you weren't alone. You had your neighbors and you were banding together. And now it seems like that has turned into stress of itself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still like really cool with all my neighbors. Like, we're even planning like a trip in the next 2 weeks and stuff like that. But I felt like that sort of it was creating too much contention at home where I didn't feel safe. I also feel like there's a little part of me that, was more so trying to hold on to this place because this has like been my safety net for so long. But I've also kind of like been feeling like, maybe I do want to go somewhere else and branch out and, you know, do something different. I've lived in the same area, oh my gosh, almost 40 years now. So, I think that I've sort of been able to be a little bit more open about the possibility of wanting to go somewhere else.
I think that's beautiful. To open up that possibility of something new, a fresh start is always a good thing. And it sounds like you also had you knew exactly when you needed to stop participating with your neighbors because it was affecting your actual friendship. So you did that right in time before things could have gotten ugly. So you handled that really well. And I wonder, when we first talked last time, I felt like safety was a major issue. Like you didn't feel safe in your home. You didn't necessarily always want to come back home. The way you looked at it as a place of peace and relaxation, it became this sort of stressor for you, and you lost the sense of safety. I want to ask you this question. If you could if you woke up tomorrow morning and the all of a sudden the bulldozers were gone and the buildings weren't being built, the construction workers had left, and it returned to what it was before they even stepped foot on the property, how would you feel?
You know, I haven't really thought about this. I think if you would have asked me 3 months ago, I would have been like, oh, I'd be so ecstatic and so happy because I really want to live here forever. But I do think that, like, in this process, I think that, it sort of made me realize that maybe, I'm holding on to this, but at the same time, I feel like there might be also other opportunities that this might open. So I would love that because I would love that for all my neighbors. But I think at the end of the day, I'm still gonna want to leave. Like,
I wonder if before you were really holding on to it because it was this dream that you had for yourself and Raj, and you guys worked so hard to make it come true. And then the bulldozers came and just changed everything. And I love this growth that you're now looking at this home that you both built from such a different perspective, and you have this renewed joy that is coming at the idea of doing something completely different and moving somewhere new and starting a fresh life together. It just feels, you feel a lot lighter right now than you did last time we met.
yeah, I feel like change is kind of scary, but I think definitely with how crazy and hectic our lives have been within the last few months, I've also realized that change is sometimes necessary. Because with change, you sort of grow and you know, I'm open to like what that will look like in the next few years. And I do hope, that this place stays standing, the same way it is, because it is still a beautiful place. But I do think in this process, I have realized that, maybe this is not where I want to be for the rest of my life.
Well, remind me how long you've been in that space?
So I've lived in this community in Soundview since there I was born, but I've lived in this complex since 2017. And that was the same exact year me and my husband got married.
That is beautiful. And
Yeah.
now that was your first adventure together, and now the possibility of a new adventure is exciting. Do you feel that for you and Raj?
Yeah, I definitely do. I mean, I think about it and I'm like, 2 out of 3 of my cats, this is the only home that they've ever known. But I think it would be very exciting to, branch off and see other places and be open to other opportunities. And sometimes, we have to be open to that because sometimes that's where the real growth is.
Yeah, I think that you and Raj you have each other, you're so strongly connected and supportive of each other. And I've seen that through the years, and it's something that a lot of couples don't have. And you guys can do anything together. If you want it, I know you're going to achieve it.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first place we've both all owned on our own that we've designed together. Everything in this place is we did together. And I think, when he first came here with me, he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna stay here for the rest of my life." And I was like, "No, I'm not." But then we sort of like switched a little bit. And in time, he grew to be like, "Oh, no, I don't want to be here forever. Do you want to sell soon?" So
Yeah,
I think I was just scared.
exactly. And now that you're not scared anymore, and that's a huge breakthrough for you, because I felt like the last time we spoke, I wondered if you could feel the freedom of moving beyond where you are now, because like you said, you grew up in Soundview. That is your home. And maybe a new experience is going to create a whole new opportunity for growth for you and Raj. Who knows
Yeah, and
what you'll
I
get?
think I think also somebody else will move here and they'll love it because this place is really a beautiful place.
Yes. Well, I love that for you. And it's 10 seconds away, so I'm going to stop it now.